All right, onside, onside. You are not offside, you are onside. With me, Joshua Holo to me, Pomocho. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and when I drop a video, you're going to be one of the first people to receive it. Transfers, transfers, transfers. Big stories happening in the world of football. Medini Nabe Bremo and Numrewe on onside with me, Joshua Holo too. Now, CAF come on so hard because they are speaking about the FIFA Forward Enterprise proposal now FIFA Ediaba through Gianni Infantino. I'll tell you a bit about what is going on and what is coming from that aspect of the game in terms of the regulation and then also the FIFA governing body and everything that they are saying. Yebedi sang come on and yeah. So many things happening in the world of sports. Into just get ready. We are going to talk about it. Into the biggest news for Chelsea for today is that Mykhailo Mudryk, he has been granted the opportunity to come back from a ban. No, as it stands now, Mykhailo Mudryk is coming back to football, which means that Chelsea for the attack in this particular season, no, is going to be something else. It's going to be something else because when you have Mykhailo Mudryk in the attack, I really don't know what the plan of Xabi Alonso would be. Perhaps he'll put him on the market to sell him, but the mere fact that he was suspended and say Omoyi the suspension free or no, and giving him the opportunity to come back to play for Chelsea. I don't know what the plan for him will be. Perhaps he'll be reintegrated into the squad. We'll go to preseason over Hong Kong and he'll play a couple of games to see whether or not he can be part of the plans of Coach Ayefreno. Mykhailo Mudryk. Now, in the free the ban, so no, he put out a statement. I'm going to read it for you. After a long battle, the 4-year ban that was imposed on me has been rescinded and I am free to resume my career with immediate effect. I am grateful that this process has reached a conclusion, that I have been cleared to return to football and that I can look ahead to my future. This has been the most difficult period of my career. As I have always maintained from the outset of this case, I have never knowingly or intentionally taken any banned substance. My commitment to competing fairly and representing my club and country with professionalism and integrity has always been important to me. I would like to thank my family and friends for their support and belief throughout this period. I also want to express my deep gratitude to everyone at Chelsea FC, my teammates and Chelsea supporters who have been with me throughout. I also would like to thank my legal team and others who assisted for their tireless work on my case. My focus now is on returning to football, working hard every day, and making a positive contribution on the pitch. Thank you to everyone who contributed to believe in me. I look forward to the next chapter of my career, and that is coming in from a brand here friend, Mykhailo Mudryk. Now, for those who don't remember, Mykhailo Mudryk was banned. He was banned a couple of years ago, and the ban was because of a case of doping, and it was assumed that he took in a banned substance that was tested when his urine sample was taken after one of the games. Omuhu said there be he had taken a banned substance which was helping him in his performance, and because of that, he was banned from football. His case was dragging. At some point, I think it was a 4-year ban or so. And at this point, no, he has been, relieved. It has been rescinded. So Mykhailo Mudryk is back, and he'll be reintegrated into the squad. We live to see, or we expect to see him play for a Chelsea Football Club under the management of Xabi Alonso. And I'm very happy for the young man because he has gone through a very difficult period. And for a young player who had come into Chelsea Football Club and he had just played 1 year and before the ban was imposed on him, no, it was a very difficult thing for him to suffer to the point where he now had to be relegated to the background. Chelsea for because there was a legal action against him, and it was quite difficult for him to navigate that particular time. And good news for Mykhailo Mudryk and Chelsea Football Club. Now, the other big news that was associated with Chelsea today was that Chelsea, the FA had charged Chelsea FC with 74 breaches of FA Rule E 1.2 after its current ownership's self-reported misconduct upon its purchase of the club. The FA is continuing to investigate individual misconducts arising out of this case. And what happened was that Chelsea wabra Todd Bowley, Bedad Egbali, any Clearlake for Ebejig Chelsea, they realized that there were some financial irregularities concerning certain deals that Chelsea for the year under Roman Abramovich that had to do with player transfers. So there were a couple of breaches that had happened. And Chelsea for under this new Bluco management, Chelsea, Chelsea free Roman Abramovich, they went to self-report to the FA. Now the FA had come out today to rule on the case and determine the punishment that Chelsea were to suffer. Now this gets interesting because so punishments now Chelsea be suffer now. There are quite a number of things in there that you would look at and say that okay, Chelsea are in trouble. But is Chelsea really in trouble? That is the issue that we are about to look at right now, because it looks like even though Chelsea is in trouble, we have found a way to free ourselves. And freeing ourselves doesn't mean that we are totally out of trouble. It just means that we need to be very careful. And I'm going to read the ruling in terms of the punishments that Chelsea has been made to suffer after they self-reported irregularities in some of their financial, dealings in the past under the Roman Abramovich era. The ruling came from the English FA earlier this afternoon, right? But let's look at what led Chelsea here. Chelsea's new owners reported themselves to FA, the English FA, in 2022 and admitted to all 74 breaches. That has played a big factor in them avoiding any serious punishment. The FA Regulatory Commission said they sympathize with the current Chelsea owners who now have to pay the penalty for the conduct of their arrogant predecessors. The fine imposed by the Regulatory Commission was initially set to £26 million, but Chelsea's self-reporting and cooperation reduced this to £17.5 million, while their guilty pleas brought it down to £11.4 million. Given the earlier penalties already handed down by UEFA and the Premier League, it was finally lowered to £10 million. For the same reason, the Regulatory Commission initially had the points deduction set at 15 points, but when mitigating factors were taken into consideration, it was brought down to 6 points. A suspended 6-point deduction was then overturned following Chelsea's appeal in May and replaced with a suspended 2-window transfer ban. It's a very, very interesting ruling. Now, because Chelsea follow in Bluco management and the fact that they realized that this was a mismanagement from the previous administration, they went to self-report themselves to the FA. Now, the FA declared that the breaches were 74 in total. Now, because of that, the punishment was supposed to be a £26 million fine on Chelsea. But because Chelsea did the right thing by reporting themselves, right, it meant that at some point, the FA sympathized with the Chelsea management and decided to reduce the fine. So the fine was reduced a couple of times at different levels based on the appeal that Chelsea won a year. And now at this point, it has been reduced from £26 million to £10 million. That's a fine. Now, it was also agreed that Chelsea will be deducted 6 points. But that was appealed by Chelsea for management, and that 6 points was then suspended. You get the point. Then now, the latest thing was that Chelsea was supposed to serve a 2-window transfer ban. But that 2-window transfer ban has also been suspended, which means Chelsea will not serve the transfer ban because now it has been suspended. But within the period of which the transfer ban is supposed to be served, if Chelsea violating any other rule or regulation, na esaba attention of the FA now, then it means that transfer ban will come into enforcement. But as we speak, that transfer ban has been suspended, so Chelsea does not serve that transfer ban. That 6-point deduction was also suspended after Chelsea Mpenifono Echo appeal. So the good news for Chelsea is that because we self-reported the breaches, right, the 74 breaches that the management of this particular administration saw, it meant that the FA were going to have some form of sympathy on them. And I think that's a good news for Chelsea. The punishment is just the fine that we are going to pay, which is the £10 million. So Chelsea from Kamakuman, it doesn't mean that the players we've bought so far will have to go back. No, that's not what it means. Chelsea decided to do the right thing under this Bluco management, and that is what has helped us to escape all of the breaches and the punishments that were supposed to come with it. And I think that's some good news for Chelsea. And then also a free Chelsea for Australia Eba, and that is something that is good, at least for now. We don't serve the transfer ban, we don't get deducted 6 points, and that is a very good thing. Now, moving on, there are a number of transfer stories that are coming up because over the last few hours, Nyama Bibre Ekosu, and earlier in the day, a number of people were asking me whether Vinicius Jr. was going to sign that contract or team my friend Real Madrid. Now, there's the latest concerning that particular news, right? It looks like there's a standoff. And at this point, Real Madrid have presented a certain offer to Vinicius Jr. and they've told him point blank that if he doesn't accept that offer, then Real Madrid will be willing to allow him to go. And that is a very big deal because as it stands right now, Vinicius Jr. wants 18 million euros, 18 million euros as his net salary per year, right? And that is something that Real Madrid are failing to meet. And that is a very, very big deal for the player because there have been contract negotiations over a period, and it looks like they don't seem to come to an agreement, and that is something that is affecting the player in so many respects because he's in the last 12 months of his contract, and if he is not able to sign an extension now and get a new deal, it means that if the summer is over, he could go for free. And as it stands right now, Real Madrid, through Florentino Perez, are telling the player that, look, this is what we are offering you. If you're not ready to take it, then you might as well leave in this transfer window where we will sell you for maybe an agreed fee. And Arsenal, you all know, say Arsenal for no ADA trade, they are looking for the signature of Abrantia friend Vinicius Jr. Now listen, Arsenal remain convinced that they have a genuine chance of signing Vini Jr. Real Madrid's stance is clear. If the Brazilian decides he wants to leave, the club will not block his exit. So that's the latest coming in from Vinicius Jr. But it's very interesting because Vinicius Jr. himself knows the situation of Real Madrid, but he is also very, should I say, very purposeful about what he wants. And he's making sure that what he wants is what Real Madrid will give to him. Because other players like Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappe are high on wages at Real Madrid. And for him, who has put up so many performances for the club, it looks like if he doesn't even get a contract now, based on what he wants, he may decide to leave because then it means that he has an adventure elsewhere, or he may get suitors who may want to pay that amount for him in terms of his wages per year. But the question is that would Arsenal be willing to do that? Because Arsenal is a club that he's been linked with. And there was a reported salary fee per week of £470,000. £470,000 per week. And I thought that was gross, right? Maybe Arsenal will have to step up. And if Arsenal step up, doesn't mean that it's going to exceed over £500,000 per week for the player. Those are big questions that need to be answered. So, Vinicius Jr. rejected Madrid's first contract offer. The proposal was worth 22 million euros per year, plus 50% of image rights. But the Brazilian wants a salary closer to 25 million euros per year and 80% of his image rights. Arsenal are monitoring the situation and are prepared to offer 100% image rights, a higher salary, and a package that could reach 140 million pounds. Vinicius' priority is to stay at Real Madrid, but only if a new agreement can be reached. He's also seeking significant signing bonus, believed to be worth up to 25 million euros. The final decision remains with the player. I want to believe that Real Madrid would want to do something about this. And, well, let's see how it goes. Yeah. If Arsenal are willing to pay all of this money for Vini Jr., well, let's see. I initially thought that it was going to be very difficult for Arsenal to match this and give him a higher salary, but if Sydney Ebony and Ocredia, then I mean, let's see how it goes. Maybe Vini Jr. may have a very good offer from Arsenal and he may decide to leave team my friend Real Madrid this particular summer. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Now, Inter Milan remain in the race to sign Tottenham Hotspur defender Christian Romero. Talks are still active, with the deal remaining a realistic possibility this summer. A transfer could be completed for around 40 million euros, although Tottenham Hotspur wants a slightly higher fee. So Christian Romero, he was originally linked to exit Tottenham Hotspur, but for the amount was what we did not know, and as it stands now, it looks like 40 million euros is what Tottenham could be asking for, but they could be asking for more Ebianom Pesicano Pebia because Christian Romero is a very, very good defender. I thought that he could be going for nothing less than 50 million euros. So 40 million euros is coming out. I really don't know. Maybe that's what Tottenham Hotspur are thinking, that between 45-50 million is something that could be very acceptable for a Christian Romero. And the other latest official news that was coming at least an hour ago is that MS5, coach of Ivory Coast, is no longer the head coach, and it looks like he has been fired from his role. This is a developing story. Remember more updates as and when stories not air back. And that is the update currently from MS5 and then also I think the other news is that there's currently Inter Milan reviving their interest in Abrante Vinicius Jr from Liverpool. The Serie A champions have renewed the contract and are prepared to offer 35 million euros for the England international. Liverpool's valuation remains high, but Jones is open to the move. So Curtis Jones, I thought that he was one of the players by the time Andoni Raiola Bekasa or Shane project during the Premier League season, he'll be an integral member of that project because of how I see him playing in that particular setup. Now, the Liverpool team have not made so many signings, and those players who are currently there are going to be very instrumental and critical for Team IFNA Liverpool. And Curtis Jones, maybe he's looking at his options and thinking that a move to Inter Milan will give him more playing time. I believe that is why he wants the move. So let's see. Now, Real Madrid for also I signing for Carlos SP. Abrante has signed for a year Real Madrid from Team IFNO Levante. I was watching the player today and I realized that no, the guy is good. The only thing that perhaps he doesn't have the speed. But in the box, very dominant. Aerial ability, left foot, right foot. 21 years of age, but I think he'll be a very good signing for Team IFN Real Madrid. Perhaps he may not be the one that Jose Mourinho wanted to sign, but when you look at the fact, say, a couple of players have left Team IFN Real Madrid to join Fulham. No, it looks like Real Madrid want to make some signings to replace, and then that is also something that is very, very good news for Real Madrid because now they have another player they can develop for the future. And I think that is massive. Now, I think Bruno G, in his transfer, earlier I brought it, that Arsenal had made a new £75 million plus add-ons bid for a Bruno G, and Newcastle has accepted it. So if everything is agreed in the coming days, he'll become an Arsenal player soon. And that is also becoming very verified that Bruno G has asked Newcastle to delay his trip to La Manga to join up with the squad as he tries to get his Arsenal deal done. So Arsenal need to get the deal completed in a few days. And Bruno G can also move and join Arsenal team. No. Now, people wanted an update on Julian Alvarez to Barcelona. Munti, I have an update for you. Barcelona are prepared to increase their offer for Julian Alvarez. Arsenal's interest in the loss of an alternative attacker has pushed the Catalan club to act. Barcelona are now willing to raise their bid to 150 million euros to keep the deal alive. But don't forget, earlier in the day, it was reported, Atletico Madrid had reported Barcelona to the Spanish FA, telling them that the approach from Barcelona for their player had taken an illegal turn. So Barcelona was ordinarily supposed to come and contact Atletico Madrid for the player. But when you look at how it was done, they went straight to the player and they were trying to convince him in a way to get him to come and play for them and to also hand in a transfer request. And that is something that Atletico Madrid have registered their displeasure about. So as it stands now, Atletico Madrid has reported Barcelona to the Spanish FA, and the Spanish FA is yet to take an action or yet to respond. We'll keep our eyes on that. I think I brought you some stories and upon another thing. Manchester United have made an inquiry for AC Milan's Rafael Leao. The Red Devils have requested information as they assist the conditions of a possible summer deal, and Leao is ready to leave AC Milan with the Italian club open for a sale around 50 to 60 million euros. So Manchester United, no, they are making a couple of inquiries here and there, looking at what possibility is in the market for them to sign players. So as at now, they are trying to get Manu Kone from AS Roma. Now they want Rafael Leao, which is also a good deal. And in the coming days, we could see Manchester United making a couple of additions to our current squad, no? And that could also be a very good thing for the Manchester-based club. Another news coming in, and it said Borussia Dortmund are monitoring Arsenal for Ethan Nwaneri. The 19-year-old could move to the Bundesliga club, but of course, Borussia Dortmund are monitoring the situation. Arsenal will first give Nwaneri the chance to impress Arteta during preseason, and if he does, perhaps he'll be integrated into the squad for the season. Otherwise, Borussia Dortmund will be ready to take the player. Now, Bradley Barcola to Liverpool. Liverpool have received a boost in their pursuit for Abrantia friend Bradley Barcola, because Paris Saint-Germain are expected to complete the signing of Air Magnus Akliush after agreeing personal terms. That move could improve Liverpool's chance of signing Air Bradley Barcola, although PSG still value him at around £140 million. So that's kind of was 3 years, and I'm wondering, £140 million. £140 million. Already, Jamie Carragher can ask him, or say he doesn't like the idea that Liverpool are going to spend £140 million and above on a player who may not necessarily come and solve a very crucial problem in the Liverpool team. As it stands, Liverpool have a lot of left wingers, so they would have been expecting a signing who could fit in as a right winger. And Bradley Barcola is also a left winger. At that left side, no, your Cody Gakpo or that. Then there's a Rio Ngumoha or that. So if you are bringing in another player, and even recently, no, Liverpool signed a young player. And when you look at those three players in that role, when you sign Bradley Barcola in addition, it means that you are overloading one area without necessarily looking at. That's a Victor Munoz. Yes, Liverpool recently signed Victor Munoz, and Victor Munoz is also a left winger. So you are bringing in another Bradley Barcola as a left winger. And it raises the questions that aren't you looking for options to replace Mohamed Salah directly? Because Mohamed Salah was a right winger, but you don't have any options for right wing. Even if they have, they need depth. So instead of signing another player for the left wing, why don't you consider signing a player for the right wing? Because already now Rio Ngumoha, there were talks that Rio Ngumoha will become a very key member of this particular Liverpool squad, because 19 years of age, and with how explosive he was, and how the kind of promising start he had to any Liverpool career when he was introduced. A lot of people thought that he'd be given the opportunity. And Jamie Carragher, I think I agree with him and I side with him when he says that no, looking at Liverpool for dynamic now, they need to sign a right winger instead of another left winger in Bradley Barcola, spending so much money. So it's very interesting. I think Liverpool would want to go ahead and make that Bradley Barcola signing, but maybe they would want to push him to the right or get somebody to fill in those shoes. I mean, it could be different variations that they could use in terms of their tactics for next season. But we'll keep our eyes on Liverpool and Bradley Barcola. And I think a couple of days ago, I brought you the news about Iliman Ndiaye's possibility of leaving Everton to sign for my friend Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. Now, the news coming in from Everton for Nasser is that Iliman Ndiaye is not for sale. So, Muntie, Everton have no intention of selling Iliman Ndiaye despite ongoing speculation over his future. Liverpool Echo reports the club have not placed evaluation on the winger and are unwilling to discuss a transfer fee. Iliman Ndiaye still has 3 years remaining on his Everton contract, and so for that reason, Iliman Ndiaye is not for sale. So I think that's good news for Everton, because I was saying it that Everton have lost experience in Seamus Coleman as well as Idrissa Gana Gueye. And these two players leaving the club meant that there are gaps to be filled. Now, if you have Iliman Ndiaye in the team who has that, kind of brilliance attached to the way he plays, who can give you goals, right, in the attack, who can give you a lot of options, you don't want to allow this player to go. So it's very good that they have declared that he's not for sale and he will stay with Everton for the coming season, which is something very important. And I think that if he performs very well, even next season, Everton may consider selling him for a very hefty price tag. So we'll keep our eyes on Abrantia Efreno Iliman Ndiaye. Iliman Ndiaye is a very excellent player, and I think Everton have done so well by keeping him and preventing him from going. All right, this has been Onside with me, Joshua. Hello to me, much. Subscribe and turn on your post notifications. Anytime I drop a video, you're going to be one of the first people to receive it. Let's build a community. Let's build a channel. Let's get talking sports. Let's talk the transfers anytime I come your way to talk the news. And I'll see you in the next one.